On this week's show, Nissan and GM both announced second life projects for used electric car battery packs, SpaceX launches the Hyperloop pod competition, and James Bond tech becomes reality with a car you can literally drive from your cell phone. These stories and more coming up next on 10. Enjoying today's show on YouTube and want to read the stories we're referring to today? Either click on the little information bar at the top of this video on selected stories, or head to our website at www.transportevolve.com, where you'll find the latest future car news as well as our buying guides, tech primers, and of course, our weekly show notes. It's Friday, June 19th, 2015. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and there are so many stories today, I'm just going to carry straight on. As the old adage goes, you must first speculate to accumulate, and that's exactly what's been going on this past week over at Tesla Motors. With many financial commitments in the coming few years, including the massive Gigafactory in Reno, Nevada, bringing the Tesla Model X to market, those brand new Tesla energy products, and the upcoming 2018 Tesla Model 3, Tesla's cash flow is a little strained right now. In Q1 this year, for example, the company ploughed through about $500 million in cash just on operating expenses and capital expenditure. So it came as no surprise this week that Tesla has secured itself a line of credit to the tune of $500 million with some of the world's biggest banks to help it fund itself through those massive projects and bring the bacon home when they mature. Good through 2017, these funds will provide Tesla with operating capital and could be extended to $750 million if certain criteria are met. It's also worth noting that Tesla signed a deal this week to take over the former Cylinder factory next door to its Fremont facility, where the Tesla Model S and eventually Model X are made. If we had to guess, we'd say that it'll be used for the Tesla power products, which will keep Tesla's Fremont facility free for all those new cars it wants to make. Last week it was electric trucks, but this week we're bringing you news from Sweden, where Swedish firm Volvo is electrifying Gothenburg Route 55 with 3 brand new all-electric buses that will help turn one of my favourite cities a little greener. Based on standard Volvo chassis, these new buses come with an overhead power socket that can be used with a specially built, fully enclosed bus station to recharge the bus's battery packs in just 6 minutes with 8.5 kilowatt hours of electricity, more than enough to get it to the next stop. The buses will also have onboard free Wi-Fi and complimentary mobile phone charging for passengers, which is why we're sure every one of these people in this specially filmed Volvo video looks so darn happy. Even the drivers say it's nicer too, thanks to the instant torque and smooth ride. Smiles all round. Back to Tesla for this story. The Californian automaker already makes the world's most powerful electric car charging station in the form of its 120 kilowatt proprietary supercharger stations. But as Tesla CEO Elon Musk disclosed last week during the Tesla annual shareholder meeting, Tesla engineers have been busy working on ways to make superchargers more convenient and even more powerful. One such modification has been the introduction of liquid cooling for the cable and charging stall itself, resulting in a smaller, thinner and more flexible cable between the supercharger stall and your car without compromising the power that can travel down it. And as this video from Chris Alessi II, aka K-Man Auto on YouTube, shows, these liquid-cooled superchargers are already out and about in the wild. We're not going to go into the full physics of why this works or how Tesla could use the cooling system to ultimately get the superchargers to deliver more power in the near future. But if you'd like to understand the science behind it a little further, do head to our site at www.transportevolve.com, where you'll find the science explained in plain English. No, we're not talking about a future without electric cars. We're talking about a lithium-ion battery pack's life after it stops being used in an electric car. Because while a lithium-ion battery pack has a finite life inside an EV, it can be used for many years in lower current applications long after the car it was first put in has headed to the great junkyard in the sky. And this week, both Nissan and General Motors announced their own battery recycling programs for lithium-ion battery packs, in which old, used battery packs are repurposed to help provide battery backup power, grid-connected power smoothing, and off-grid storage to various projects across the US. The first two, a grid smoothing project at a Nissan facility somewhere in the US, and a 5-battery renewable energy storage project at GM's Millbrook test facility in Michigan, are the first of many we can expect to see in the coming years. And while both projects are currently focusing on industrial scale storage, there's no reason why we'll one day see used Leaf and Volt battery packs powering our homes too. For as long as we can remember, Honda has been kind of unsupporting of electric and hybrid vehicles, focusing instead on hydrogen fuel cell technology. And this week's news that Honda is about to ditch the Honda Civic Hybrid, Honda Civic Natural Gas and Honda Accord plug-in hybrid might be considered news that proves that take on the company's loyalties. But if I tell you that this week's announcement also included the news that Honda plans to introduce not only a fuel cell sedan, but two brand new vehicles in the coming years, one dedicated plug-in hybrid and one dedicated fully electric vehicle, you may have a different take on this news. There's no specifics yet on what each of the vehicles will include, but Honda has said that it aims to produce each vehicle as a unique model that isn't a conversion of an existing part of its gasoline fleet, meaning we should see some pretty impressive designs in the coming months. And it also means that Honda is finally coming in from the cold and acknowledging after many months of denial that electric and plug-in cars have just as big a part to play in our zero-emission transportation future as hydrogen fuel cell cars. And we think that diversity is the spice of life. Staying with hydrogen fuel cell cars for a moment, we brought you the news this week that despite being on sale for 2 years, Hyundai's Tucson fuel cell CUV has only sold 273 cars globally, well under the 1,000 vehicle production target it had set itself for the end of this year. There are lots of reasons why the Tucson hasn't sold as well as some might have liked, but it boils down to two: cost of the car itself and really limited refueling infrastructure. Hyundai, which celebrated its 1 year of Tucson FCV sales in the US last week, is trying to put a brave face on things and has even launched a new social media campaign featuring some of its everyday heroes who drive a hydrogen fuel cell car. But despite the hype, those cars really aren't shifting off dealer lots as fast as Hyundai would like, and for what it's worth, we think that's going to continue until there's a lot more hydrogen refueling stations around for people to fill up at. If we're talking about the chicken and the egg, we think the egg really does have to come first this time. A few years ago, Elon Musk, CEO of both Tesla Motors and SpaceX, released a paper online describing a new mass transit system he called the Hyperloop, essentially a series of partially evacuated tubes in which electrically powered pods would travel at incredible speed to offer society a true alternative to carbon-intensive air travel. At the time, Musk said he didn't have the time to devote any energy to the project, so opened it up for the rest of the world to look at as an open source project. Since then, we've seen several companies grow up from the idea, building on Musk's idea and striving to bring his dream to reality. Well, this week, SpaceX announced that it would be building a 1-mile test track in Hawthorne, California for teams to test their Hyperloop pod designs at. Moreover, it's going to turn the whole thing into a competition. Claiming no interest in building its own Hyperloop, SpaceX and Elon Musk's involvement is purely altruistic at this point, but we are really excited to see just what will be built ahead of next year's finals, which are scheduled to take place sometime next June. And finally, if you're of a certain age, you'll remember watching the 1997 James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies and staring eagerly in disbelief as James Bond drives his fancy, spy-prepped BMW 007 series sedan remotely around a car park using his mobile phone, thus avoiding death at the hands of baddies toting machine guns, shotguns, and yes, even a grenade launcher. Well, this week, Jaguar Land Rover revealed that it's been kind of working on the similar kind of technology for real, demonstrating a Range Rover Sport prototype that you can control from outside your car using your smartphone. Ultimately, the prototype is designed for slow speed maneuvering and as such only works at speeds of up to 4 miles per hour, and it's designed to help drivers navigate tough terrain that they couldn't see from the driver's seat. It's also supposed to help getting in and out of tight parking spaces. But hey, Bond tech in a car for real. This is awesome. I hope I fitted all those stories in, because this week has been completely crazy. We'll be back next week at the usual time for another show, but in the meantime, you can find all the other news that's fit to print on our website at www.transportevolved.com, chat to us on Twitter at transportevolved, or head to our YouTube channel to catch up with the latest shows. As usual, there's been a whole lot we haven't managed to fit into today's show, including Nissan's continued sponsorship of Plug-in America's National Drive Electric Week, how electric cars might be a status symbol that help you keep up with the Joneses, the 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid gets spotted in Japan in the wild, And BMW is rumoured to be developing a super efficient plug-in hybrid like Volkswagen's XL1, purely for engineering purposes. So when we're done, be sure to head to our site to read them all. Thanks for watching. I'm Nikki Gordon Bloomfield. Have a great weekend, and until next time, keep evolving.